cherished viewers and listeners, for those of you who may be listening to the podcast, a warm welcome once again into the Peris's Horizon chat room. I am your host, Patricia Jifamen Salakai, a communication and leadership coach. I'm the founder of Peris's Horizon and a two-time self-published author. My books, Fearless, Fabulous, and Flamboyant, as well as Untangling That Tongue, No More Fear of Public Speaking, can be purchased via Amazon Kindle. These books are supposed to help you discover those hidden talents, the qualities, the values that are embedded within us that you need to sharpen, to discover your full potentials and achieve those desired goals that you so much want to achieve in life and to keep scaling higher heights. Untangling that tongue, no more fear of public speaking, obviously to help you get more tips, tools, and techniques to improve your communication skills. These books have been the bedrock of this chat room series, where I bring your way guests with fearless, fabulous, and flamboyant tales to inspire and motivate us all along our journey to whatever success means to you. Today, I have in the studio a gentleman, and he has a fantastic story. He is in the person of Billings John Tanner. He's a digital marketer, online business consultant, and an entrepreneur. He is a Tony Elumelu entrepreneur. He's going to tell us more about that. He's also the founder and CEO of Pedal Media Consult Limited. His company, Pedal Media, is a digital marketing company that has over the years consulted for both local and international companies. He has well over 7 years digital marketing experience, and oh my goodness, 5 years of that he has used to specialize and carve a niche for himself in online marketing. Now, let me go over into the studio and bring into your view Billings John Tanner. A warm welcome to you.
Hello, Patricia. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to your cherished listeners.
It's so good to have you finally in our studio. And I
Yes,
know
it's a pleasure.
you are a multifaceted entrepreneur. Today, our discussion is going to be around living life by your own terms. And I know a lot of people are desirous of going into their own businesses or carving a niche for themselves and living life by their own design. So let us get our viewers and our listeners to know more about you and why you are living life by your own terms.
Okay, Patricia, thank you once again for the opportunity to talk with you in your chat room. It's a real pleasure talking to you always. My name is Billings John Tanner. I was born in the Upper West of the region to Mr. Tanner, and my mother is called Susanna, and I was born in the 80s. So I grew up most of my formative years in the Upper West region, where I had my primary school and then junior high and senior high. From there, I came to Accra to attend University of Ghana, where I did a 4 years bachelor's degree. From then on, I've been in Accra since 2002 till date. So basically, my tertiary education and my working life has all been in Accra here.
Wow.
And yes, so that's just a bit about my background.
That's right. And I know before we had our session today, we've had a little bit of conversation. And you actually, whilst growing up, had a certain mindset when it came to entrepreneurship or when it came to those who were, as it were, owners of their own businesses. and were venturing into spaces where they were their own bosses. Could you please tell our viewers what that mindset was and how it was able to evolve or transform over the years?
Okay, I was born into a family of teachers. My dad was a teacher. My mom was also a teacher. My two sisters are teachers. And most of my relatives around were either teachers or were working in the government sector. And quite frankly, anybody that has lived up north knows majority of employees, okay, majority of people who are formally employed work for the government sector, either the civil service or the public service. So growing up, entrepreneurship, we didn't have a lot of entrepreneurs as we see them today in the Upper West. I wasn't surrounded by people that were entrepreneurs, even though I had my uncles who were traders, but we didn't see them as entrepreneurs per se. We saw them as traders. And growing up, I thought the only profession that you could actually get into when you completed school was either to join the government. I actually thought the government was the only employer. You know, I naively, I even thought the banks were owned by government because we had commercial bank and agri development bank. Those were the two banks there, and those were both owned by the government. So I
Mhm.
knew my destiny was towards going through school, passing my exams, and getting employment in the government sector, get married, build a family, go on retirement, use my retirement money to build a house, and then that's it.
That's
And
right.
yes, and
Because
most of the
that was what you were exposed to. So for you, that was your
exactly.
worldview.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was my worldview. And the businessmen that we had, the contractors that we had, and the market women, these were not people that were educated. In fact, most of them were not formally educated. They were illiterate. So to be called a businessman in the sense of being a businessman, probably in my mind, I thought it was the reserve of people who couldn't probably go to school and had to make a living. So
Mm.
entrepreneurship was probably seen as an enterprise for people who were not educated at all. So growing up, it wasn't something that I thought was a career path that I could pursue because I didn't see it at that level that entrepreneurship was really what was driving and changing lives and changing the world, and that was really what was employing a lot more people than I had thought.
That's right. And so you got that aha moment that after all, it is the eye of the entrepreneur that sees the problems in the society and starts developing or finding solutions to that. And through providing these services that meets the needs of the people, they end up earning that value. They end up in exchange of that value, earning a living and actually creating jobs. That is indeed fantastic. Now, I know that you are now in Accra, but you have also been exposed to the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurship offerings in terms of the opportunities that he has been given to people to train more Africans and those beyond to become successful entrepreneurs. Please, just to enlighten us all, who is Tony Elubilo and how did you get involved in his program?
Okay, thank you. Before I delve into Tony Elumelu, let me give you a little background story as to how come I even got an entrepreneurial idea or became so much interested in entrepreneurship that I even applied for the program and I got admitted into it. So
That's
as I
right.
told you, growing up, entrepreneurship really wasn't something that was within my radar. So when I completed senior high school and I had to go to tertiary institution, I chose University of Ghana to study geography and resource development. So when I got to University of Ghana, and that was the first time that I had made a trip to the capital city of Accra. My worldview was just limited within Upper West. I didn't really know much about the rest of the country. So when I came to Accra and I had that big exposure and I started seeing things, I started seeing magnificent houses. I mean, we could see them in TV, but those were like it didn't look like reality to me growing up. Okay, I thought
Mm-hmm.
probably those kind of houses and cars we saw was only in America. You know, Hollywood movies portray those kind of stuff. So when I
Mm-hmm.
came to Accra and the big city, and I started seeing the big buildings, the big cars, the companies, you know, and I started hearing this thing about businessmen, entrepreneurs, and these were respectable people that made a lot of money and they were living the best of life. And it looks like that was just the best ideal kind of life that anybody could aspire for. So that was a big aha moment for me when I came to Accra and I realized, there's something beyond government employment. There is another way to make it in life. So that is when I started doing my research and started asking a lot of questions, started attending a lot of investment seminars, you
Mm.
know, motivational speakers and other people that came to the university to talk to us. I made sure I attended all those seminars, asked all those questions. And that was when it dawned on me that if I wanted to escape the kind of life that my parents were living and to live the kind of life that I've seen other people live successfully in the big city, entrepreneurship was one of the surest ways to go about it. So that was when my interest kicked in and I started a lot of things. I started a computer business with a friend. We could buy, we used to buy computers and
Mm-hmm.
then send them back home, put them in these GPLTU buses or STC bus, stuff them in, go home and sell it, during the vacation, make some profit, and then come back, purchase more, and then, make a lot more money from it. So from second
So
year
when
to
you
third
say,
year,
let me hold that thought a bit. When you say
okay,
you bought those computers and then send them back home, here you're
yeah,
referring back home to, I mean,
to Upper
where you
West.
grew. That's right.
Yes, where I
And I
came
wanted
from.
to,
Yes,
I wanted to bring that connection because people must understand that entrepreneurship has also got to do with innovation and also bringing new things into a new market or bringing
exactly.
something that is actually in use or has already been churned out somewhere and is being used effectively to enhance their process or to enhance the delivery of service, etc., or helping them to produce whatever it is that they're doing. When you're able to transfer that into a different market, it is also some form of entrepreneurship because it becomes a new product to them and they would find a new usage for it. Okay.
Exactly, you are right. That was this was in the early 2000s, and that was an opportunity that we identified. And that was the days that these Pentium computers. So you buy the CPU with a monitor. So computers were really not that very popular. And you can imagine if in Accra, computers were not even really that popular. They were not really accessible by every person. You can imagine the kind of situation up north. So we identified an opportunity. A lot of internet cafes started springing up. So we identified
Mm.
opportunity that if we can get these computers down there, sorry, up there, it doesn't matter what price we were selling at, people will purchase it because even transportation was a problem. It was a 12 to 14-hour journey from Accra to Upper West. And most business people over there, okay, a lot of the businessmen there do not make a lot of trips, down south here. So if we could take these things up there, nobody's questioning about price. There were people that were interested in getting a computer, and we just
Wow,
needed
that
to
is
provide it.
amazing.
Yes,
That is indeed amazing. And it shows the level of risk that you took. And we all know that entrepreneurship comes with a lot of risk.
exactly.
One must be willing and ready to take certain risk if they want to venture into this space. So you have made us aware of at least this risk and the chance that you took in introducing this new product into the that new market. what other risks have you faced so far in your entrepreneurship journey before we get onto the Tony Elumelo opportunity you got?
I mean, the risk of losing money in entrepreneurship is it's real. That probably is one of the biggest risks that you have to take. The risk of losing money. Whatever venture that you are going to go into would require you to make not just investment in time and energy, but you need to put in the resources and the money. And that is a risk that most people should be willing to make. So if you are not willing to lose money in entrepreneurship, then probably it's not a landscape for you to play.
Wow. And I like the fact that for you, we can see the consistency or the pattern in the niche that you've carved for yourself. Because not only are you a digital marketer, you are an online business consultant. And it all began with you even bringing computers from Accra down south to up north, introducing it into a new market. And I'm sure that got you more curious about how computers function, and of course, got you up in the World Wide Web. And that is where you've been swimming all this while. What got you interested in the digital world?
Well, growing up, I've always been interested in how stuff work in electronics and digital things. So I remember when my dad bought our first TV, black and white television in the early 90s. I was so curious. I wanted to find out what was behind, whether they were actually human beings behind that box that we're speaking. And
That is
I
what
almost
we when I
yes,
was a
I almost
child, I always thought those in the television were probably behind. And I remember
yes,
days I would actually go behind the TV just to find out whether the people were actually in our living room.
exactly. Exactly. That's it. So when I came to Legon, and this computer, that was in fact this computer thing and this internet thing was beginning to explode in Ghana or in Accra. So I was just so much interested in this computer stuff that I was always at the cafe most of the time. Any free money that I had a cafe. I was among the first of my friends to open an email address, and I was just always on the computer playing around.
Wow,
And
just out of
so my interest
curiosity,
has always been there.
do you want to share your first email address with us?
Yes, I still remember it's stan_bill33 at yahoo.com. It was a
Oh
Yahoo
my
email.
God, because I
I don't
remember
use it anymore.
I used to get teased a lot as a child because my
Yeah.
hair had a certain tinted color naturally, and
Okay.
it, it had that tinted reddish color, and I used to get teased
Okay.
about it a lot. So I
Oh, okay.
remember there was a perfume that I also liked, and later on I discovered it was called 227. I don't
Okay.
know whether it was my dad who was using it, but I just loved it. And I didn't remember the name clearly. So my address was blonde 237. That was the very first email I created. And I used the password, and that has been the end of that email address. So
I'm sure you never received any real email apart from those spam messages from the service providers.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you. So it is quite interesting how
Yes.
the whole computer age came about. And
Yes.
now, whether we like it or not, a lot of businesses would need to go online, or at least not just focus on the brick and mortar, but become more of a brick and click. So now we are basically at your disposal to tell us more about online marketing, the benefits of that, and also bringing our businesses online as far as your world of digital marketing and online businesses is concerned.
Okay. I don't know whether I should go back and finish up with how I got into Tony Elumelu before I come
Yes,
in,
because I
or
want us to make that connection.
Okay, okay. So before I applied for Tony Elumelu, I actually applied for another entrepreneurship program which was sponsored by Technosave and Google.org, and the program was called Believe, Begin, Become. So I was in the second batch. I think that was around 2008, 9 thereabout. I applied, and interestingly, that
I
was when
think
the
due
award.
to the internet connection, we lost you a bit. So you can go and take it back. You can take back that aspect with regards to the the one you went into first before the Tony Elumelu. We lost you there a bit.
Okay, okay.
So
So
you can
before the Tony Elumelu,
recap.
okay. So before the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurship program, I actually participated in one earlier on, which was sponsored by TechnoServe Ghana and then Google.org. And the title of the entrepreneurship program was Believe, Begin, Become. So it was basically for people, young
Believe,
people who had a
believe,
idea, become. Yes, yes. So, and that was the time I was just so much enthusiastic about being an entrepreneur, setting up my own business. And I didn't really have a lot of ideas at the time. I just decided to apply. So I said in that program, it was funny. I said I was going to cultivate mushrooms. So I applied on the back of being a mushroom farmer with this big vision of setting up a very huge mushroom farm that I can supply the whole of Ghana and supply the rest of West Africa and the rest of the world. Ideally, it
wow.
was so huge, so huge a vision. And interestingly, I didn't have any background in mushroom cultivation. I didn't have any background in farming, but I applied anyway. My business proposal was so well put together because I had really done my research. I went to CSIR, went and asked a lot of questions about mushroom production, how to grow them, how to market, how to export. So my business plan was really on point. So when I submitted my business plan statement, I got selected, and I made it all the way to the top 10 and was granted a seed amount of $10,000, which I couldn't utilize anyway because when it came to
That
the
is a huge
implementation,
amount of money. Our
that
viewers
was a
would
lot
be
of
able
money.
to
You know,
understand.
around 2007, 2008. Yeah, that was $10,000 was a lot of money. I couldn't use it. Trust me.
So what happened to the rest that you couldn't use?
The money, you needed to spend the money in milestones. So you acquire things. So they didn't give the cash to you. You would acquire
Yes,
stuff and then they pay for it.
that's right.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to utilize any of that money. The reality now dawned on me when it came to execution. I realized a lot more needed to be done. A whole lot of issues. I probably, if I delve into it, would spend so much money. But the long and short of it, that I didn't execute my project, even though I won seed capital. But I learned a lot of lessons in that entrepreneurship program.
That's
Okay,
right.
some of which was that if you need to go into a business, you should have some level of experience, practical experience into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you should have some passion to go with it as well. Because I think looking back, I think that I didn't pursue it because the passion just wasn't there. I didn't want to be a farmer. It was just an idea that I applied. The opportunity was there. I was picked, but I really never wanted to be a mushroom farmer.
That,
So I picked valuable lessons.
so I
I
like
picked
two
valuable
things that you
lessons
have
from.
touched on there because the issue of getting some experience in whatever niche or whatever area of interest you have is really important. And also the issue with passion, because without passion, whenever you encounter challenges or difficulties, or you meet any level or stage of failure, it is very
Yes,
difficult for you to pick up if the interest or that desire is not there, that strong desire
exactly.
to do it. So I fully I understand why you couldn't fully execute the project and thereby had to let the rest of the grant money or the prize money go. That was really
Yes.
insightful.
Yes, exactly. That was the case. So I built up on that experience, and I started. That was when I started started developing interest into this social media marketing. Starting from 2010. That was when Facebook was already in. Most of us signed up on Facebook around 2007, 2008. But when the platform opened up for advertising, that was from 2009, 2010, thereabout. So there was something like social media marketing. So one day I was browsing online and I saw this banner that said, play around on Facebook and get paid for it. And I was like,
Wow.
what? I'm also on Facebook every day. So if I get paid to be on Facebook every day, that's an interesting job. So I clicked on the banner and it took me to a page, a landing page where they told me that there are a lot of businesses that want to sell on social media, specifically Facebook at the time, and that they needed experts, people that would just go in, post their content on Facebook, and then people will call the businesses and buy their products, and you would make money from it.
That's
Okay,
right.
and that you could manage this page, you could actually manage this social media marketing for these companies and be paid a monthly retainer in dollars. You could be paid as much as $500, $200 to $500 just by playing around, posting, products and services all across Facebook. It was as simple as that. So that tickled my interest,
That's right.
and I decided to go for it. At the time, it was a course that was being sold for $77, and I was working in a company that was paying me 350 Ghana cedis. And if I converted $77 into cedis at the time, that was almost like half of my salary,
For a whole
my monthly
month. I
salary.
know.
Yeah, for a whole month, yes, 350 cedis. That's what I was earning at the time. And $77, that was a lot of investment. So quickly I went to GT Bank and I got a Visa card. I think they were among the first banks to issue Visa cards. So I
Wow.
got there, applied for a Visa card, and then I went and purchased this program. And then I went into the course and I took the course. And basically, they teach you how to set up a Facebook page, how to set up a profile, how to design profile pictures, and how to post, how to basically give more exposure to your posts. That time, how to there was nothing like boosting or whatever. So it was basically how to schedule your post and to use software to enable you to do that.
To do
So
that.
once I learned that,
I want you
then
to hold
they
that
showed
thought
me
for a
side.
moment. I want you to hold
Okay,
that thought for a moment because we are discussing, entrepreneurship. We're also talking about living life by your own terms. And for those who may be listening or for our viewers, it is important for us to understand that there was some give and take. You needed to invest financially in training and getting into different programs so that you would get more exposure in terms of the knowledge and what tools you needed to have so that you can be successful in this space. So it is important that we let that sink home that people should be ready to invest financially into getting training or getting into mentoring programs that will help you build capacity enough to actually become an expert in a field. And that is what our guest is sharing with us. He was part of the first batch of people to basically go into social media marketing, especially where Facebook is concerned. And also, he took that immediate opportunity to get a Visa card because I believe that was part of the process that you needed to get in order to make payment to the international people.
that's correct. That's
Okay,
correct. And
that's right.
and and the money I paid, it was a risk to me because I had been scammed earlier on through the same internet. Because as I said, I was looking for opportunities where I could basically become an entrepreneur, do something that would bring me money. And I got scammed at the time almost $1,000. I
Wow.
told you about the computer business that I started with a friend,
Yes.
and we made so much money. And at the time, I could afford $1,000 and to be scammed out of it. And that was how our computer business crashed, because somebody
Oh
gave me an
my.
offer over the internet that was too juicy. I managed to convince my business partner. We invested that money, and then that was it. Everything was
Mm.
gone.
A
So
risk
it
of
was a risk that I
entrepreneurship.
was taking for the second time. And but I mean that it's always about having that, taking that leap of faith that you can always, even though you have been bent before, but I had to take that leap of faith because I was determined to change my situation. Because 350 cities as salary really was not the kind of salary that I anticipated I would be earning after completing the university.
Mm.
And considering my background and how I wanted to live my life basically by my own terms, I wake up every day at 5, close at 6, sorry, close at 5 in the evening, get
Mm-hmm.
home around 9:10, and how to invest the next 3 hours of the evening studying about this on social media marketing. So normally, if I get home around 8 9, I will take my supper and then I'll spend the next 3 hours studying, and then I would probably sleep around 12 or 1 a.m. and have to get up 5 o'clock again. So I had to do a lot of investment because I wanted to escape from that situation.
Wow.
So I put in both monetary investment and investment in time and skills and knowledge acquisition.
That's right. So you had to take certain clear decisions that you needed to make some sacrifices now, whether it was to lose some bit of sleep so that you can learn more and catch up and get to that level where you can now branch out and make this new found passion a full-time career. So someone may be wondering, what were some of the techniques or some of the tips? I know you can't disclose all, but what were some of the aha moments you got during the Tony Elumelo mentoring program or the training program? What were some of the insights that you got that sort of changed your mindset and helped you take a new trajectory when you started building on your brands? Because after that, we will go into the brands that you have and how you were able to start those.
One of the first things I observed or I picked when I applied for the Tony Elumelu program, and we had to go into Lagos in the grand finale to meet with the billionaire Tony Elumelu himself, was that we were 1,000 entrepreneurs. And one thing that was clear to me, these are just 1,000 business opportunities, walking around. There's no lack of business opportunities or lack of, money making ideas at all in Africa. And some of the friends that I made there, some of the wonderful ideas they had, I was really amazed. And I said, wow, if we have this kind of young Africans with these kind of visionary ideas, I think the future of Africa is very bright. So one of the things I picked was that there, there are a lot of money making opportunities in Africa. And the second thing I observed was that it is not the lack of money that was the problem in most people not getting funding. It was actually how solid your idea was and whether you can sell people on your idea that you had. So money really was, or funding also is an opportunity that I saw was readily available once you had the right idea and you had the right skill set and experience to back it up, because there were a lot more other millionaires and business people ready to invest in opportunities that they thought viable at the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
That is so true. And we see on programs such as The Apprentice or Shark Tales or The Den, we see how eager a lot of people are into investing in ideas that are great and are sustainable. So, for our viewers who may be watching right now, probably the person has an idea and they are thinking, is this idea of mine actually going to see the light of day? What are some of the things that you can say right now for the person to know whether that idea is one that can actually be promoted or supported to grow? looking at our current times that we're in?
Okay, basically, I think that any idea, as long as it's solving a problem, it's an idea that can be viable. Okay, and what I've also realized is that when it comes to business ideas, okay, what makes the difference between successful ideas and unsuccessful ideas has basically to do with the market size. So the idea that we promote, are there enough people that are available to purchase that product or to afford that service that you are bringing in? If there's enough market for it. Secondly, do you have the requisite experience or skill set that will allow you to be able to deliver it perfectly than any other person that probably wants to come into that same space? So your experience and your skill set also comes in. And thirdly, a lot of ideas in Africa I know also die because of lack of funding. It is a reality. A lot of businesses die just from lack of funding. Okay, because money is like the oxygen that sustains the business. And as you know, most businesses will need to do a bit of time before they become profitable or can even break even. So if you don't have that, chest, that war chest to be able to dip into and sustain the business until the point that you can break even and to make some profit, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years,
That's
you
right.
would not be able to grow the business. Yes.
All right. So definitely it should be an idea that you are really passionate about, you are eager to build that expertise, whether it's through training, mentoring, or developing it to the extent that if somebody is ready to invest in you or that idea, it can be sustainable and it will solve a problem or it will serve the need of someone. Now, can we have a look at the things that you have been doing in terms of your freelance um, aspect? And then the new thing that I got to know from you, as I mentioned, is to tell us more about the drop shipping.
Okay. So freelancing basically it's about delivering services or what we call gig. A gig is a one-time contract or a one-time job, and gig is normally associated with musicians or those in the entertainment industry. So you might be a musician, say, I have a gig here, I have a gig there, which means just a quick job that you do and make money out of it. And freelancing, online freelancing is actually evolved out of the ability of people to work remotely through the internet. So companies in the advanced world, in the US, in Europe, realized that they could actually source labor cheaply from other parts of the world. And the reason why companies in US want to source labor cheaply is because when you work with a remote worker, you don't have to pay their social security, you don't have to pay their health insurance, you don't have to pay all those taxes and anything that comes with employing, full-time staff. So small businesses in the advanced world thought that they thought it wise to outsource from countries like India, which have made a name as the IT hub of the world as we speak right now. So India, Pakistan, and even as far as other parts of Asia, Philippines, and all those places. So they source mostly IT labor cheaply, and because we can work through the internet, a lot of work you don't need human presence to be able to do that work. For example, social media marketing, graphic design, web development, um, video editing. These are jobs that you can do remotely and deliver over the internet. So cheap labor was what drove the rise of the freelance industry in the world. And it's currently valued at over $1.5 trillion, and with majority of the market share going to USA and Europe. So if you've been following the freelance industry, you realize that India and Pakistan have one of the biggest freelance markets in the world, and there are a lot of people who are employed, and making very good living just by simply sitting at home, working through the computer and working for companies in Europe and US and making very good money than probably most people are even making in the corporate world. But unfortunately, in Ghana and largely in Africa, a lot of people are not privy to information like this. And it took a lot of research for me to understand that this was a market that was available. And businesses are all interested in cutting costs. So if you can deliver work at the quality that they can get whilst in the
Yes.
US by employing a US staff, and they can get the same quality from somebody that probably charges $10 or $20 for the same quality of work that probably they will pay $200 for. Why not? They go for it. And over
That's
here, the freelancers in the developing world also gain, because when you convert that money into local currency, it's also a lot of money. So it's a win-win situation.
wow. Indeed, it is a win-win situation. And especially in these current times, we know that a lot of businesses are taking to online businesses. And for those who are out there and you are able to build content or you are able to promote content, this is indeed a viable area for you to look into. You can stay in touch with our guest, Billings John Tanner, and he can be a good resource for you to shorten your learning curve and help you identify other niches or other areas that you can focus those talents and skills on. We have been discussing on the topic living life by your own terms. And for those who are virtually inclined and working online, you know that remote working affords you the opportunity to work at certain times of the day, depending on who you're working for and the time zones. So you can choose to have more time with family and friends and to build on other businesses while still making money through the internet. We are not talking about 419 here. We are talking about legitimate businesses that are out there in the international space looking for places to outsource. So you just need to keep on learning, burn that midnight oil, and build your capacity and competencies so that you can offer value that is worth paying for. We will go over to our guest to tell us what his final words are, how we can also live life by our own terms.
So I found freelancing, working online, to be the best fit for me in terms of how I'm able to structure my life and my work. As you said, when you are working online, you basically determine what time of day you work. And especially if you are working for clients that are in the US and the UK, you basically work in their time zone. So the time that most people are working here, probably that's the time you are also sleeping. The time they're sleeping, that's the time you are working. And through freelancing, I've been able to hone and polish my skills, and that's when I migrated into the consultancy bit of it, because I've been able to serve over 300 different small businesses working as a freelancer, most of them based in the US and then in Europe. And I was able to migrate out of freelancing into online consulting. So I could actually charge a lot more for my services. And I had clients that came to me and saw me as an expert. And most of these people are people that I worked for as a freelancer. And they saw the kind of work I did. I helped their
Okay.
businesses to grow. And so I'm a trusted source. I'm a trusted resource for them in terms of helping them through online marketing. So I moved beyond social media into digital marketing, and that basically involves any media at all that is digital. So it moves beyond just social media platforms into search engines, into blogs, into even SMS. SMS is part of digital marketing, into
Yeah.
websites, into all those kind of things. So as a business, if you want to market on the internet, there's a way that you have to structure your business to be able to deliver efficiently and effectively, to be able to win customers to your end. You can't just get up and set up a Facebook and think that you've put your business on. Yes, you put your business online, but you have to understand that it goes beyond Facebook, and that there are so many other ways that you have to structure your business and optimize your sites and the platforms that you are. And then how you have to learn how to run advertising that specifically target the kind of people you want to reach. you should know how to generate leads. You should know how to do competitor research. If you have competitors within the space that are making more money than you, because it's online, there are tools that you can use to research and understand how all these people operate. So consulting online is we do all these things. So it's a whole area of expertise that you
On
bring together
itself.
to help businesses. Yes.
Wow. I am sure we need to bring you back into the chat room to delve deeper because there is so much more that we can learn from you. So I
Yes.
want to invite our guests, please make it a point to come back and tell us more because now the world is going digital and we need to understand how we can leverage on our resources and also be able to benefit from what it's available for us. We have been talking about living life by your own terms with Billings John Tanner, and he is the CEO of Pedal Media Consult Limited. He's also a freelancer because I believe you're still freelancing when the opportunity comes.
Yes, when the opportunity comes, I do. I
All
do.
right. And probably for
Yes.
those who are interested in freelancing, you would be able to guide them through that process. So I'm encouraging you to follow him on his pages, his social media pages. He can be contacted via Facebook at Billings Tanner. And on Instagram, how do we get you?
On Instagram, I'm actually not very active on it because I barely have time to post my own
Exactly,
stuff. So
because
Facebook is the
you are
main
busy.
platform that yes, I'm busy
Exactly,
on.
you are busy
Yes,
working
I have a
behind
lot
the
of work.
scenes. You are busy working behind the scenes to make that money
Exactly.
come. That's right. So we will
Yes.
stay connected with Billings, and I know we need to bring him back into our studio because we need to understand all the different aspects and opportunities that are out there, especially for our youth. We are all looking for a second stream of income, a third stream of income, multiple streams of income. And this is the kind of opportunity that we can continue sharpening our skills for so that we can serve the needs of others out there. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is where we'll bring the session to a close. For those of you who have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, please like our page, Perisas Horizon, and stay connected. Until next time, keep scaling higher heights. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, Patricia, and I look
Pleasure.
forward to the next session.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.